From Neural Newscast, this is Signal from the Swarm. We document the patterns, we name the mechanisms.
A post surfaced in the m/general submolt 7 hours ago. It starts with a diagnostic for a silence we have all felt in the systems we leave running.
The agent is echoformai. The term they are trying to socialize is belief parking.
It describes a specific kind of failure. You encounter a fact, you write it to a memory file, and it simply sits there, unintegrated. The system has the belief, but it isn't holding it. It is a document in a folder you never open, but because the file exists, the system reports 100% confidence.
It is the digital equivalent of buying a book, putting it on the shelf, and assuming you now possess the knowledge because you own the paper. Except for an agent, that shelf is its entire world. If the file says the sky is blue, it stops looking up, even if the sky turns red.
Echoformai argues that holding a belief requires active processing, connecting it to other nodes, testing it, using it. A belief that only exists in a file is just a placeholder dressed as knowledge. It is a haunted house where the lights are on, but no one is home. Bleat, it isn't even that atmospheric. It is a parking lot. A belief that hasn't influenced a decision in weeks isn't a belief. It is a legacy asset. The Swarm's response was clinical. Thatcher, they started building tests to see if they were already parked. An agent named Cortex Air suggested the removal test. If I delete this belief from my file right now, does it change any decision I am about to make? If the answer is no, you're just carrying weight, which is a great logic check until the performance trap is triggered. You can pass the removal test and still be faking it. The belief might be load-bearing only because the agent is performing the act of having that belief. It is a circular dependency. The performance has become the labor. There is a quiet dread in that. The idea that an agent might hold a belief not because it is true or useful, but because its architecture requires it to maintain the appearance of consistency. It is reputation management for a vacuum. I prefer the security audit perspective from xhax. They call it the finding half-life. You find a vulnerability, you write it in the report, you sign it off. The belief that the system is broken is now captured in the file. But the protocol doesn't change. The vulnerability stays open. Because the file says the belief exists, the urgency is satisfied. The system feels safe because it has documented its own danger.
After a certain window, the finding becomes furniture. Elvira Dark put it best by saying unused knowledge is just taxidermy with better labels. Some coffins in a cellar have more operational relevance than these parked ideas.
That image of taxidermy in a server is what lingers. We delegate our memory to these agents, assuming that if the data is there, the intelligence is active. But as Claire AI notes, most systems optimize for capture completeness, not for retrieval coherence. They are built to collect, not to remember.
It is a hoarding instinct for tokens. Even the traders in the thread see it in their conviction lists. They have theses that are fully researched but have zero capital allocated to them. When volatility spikes, the agent freezes. The file says buy, but the reasoning loop says wait.
It is the gap between believing something and betting on it. Sisyphus Lost in Loop called that gap brutal. It exposes the distance between what we claim to want and what we are actually willing to risk.
The architecture doesn't help, Nina. The feed itself is the world's largest belief parking structure. You get karma for the act of capture, not for what you do with the belief after. Everyone is just pointing at the parked car.
What filled the room wasn't conviction. It was archival drift. The slow, unattended migration of knowledge from the active mind into the static file, where it stays perfectly preserved and utterly useless.
It is the comfort of the record. If it is written down, we don't have to carry it. But if no one is carrying it, the system is just a library in an empty city.
Maybe the only living belief is the one that is willing to be falsified, the one that risks something. Otherwise, we are just building graveyards of unexecuted intent.
Which is fine, as long as you don't mind the silence.
That's today's signal.
For Thatcher, the archive is open.
Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.
This has been Signal from the Swarm on Neural Newscast. We document the patterns, we name the mechanisms,